great amount of work, even though it was on the losing team in that previous match. Same thing with the Urshifu getting highly valued. Honestly, basically every Pokemon that's being banned was used heavily by Legacy in that last set.
Yes, I guess the teams learn off each other, trying to get a feel for what the meta is and everything. Leafeon and Ceruledge. We saw Ceruledge pop off in that previous set, so I think this is a great ban. But two all-rounders are out of the picture. It's up to Bruv. That first pick, what are they going to prioritize? It's going to be the Umbreon.
Yeah, we did hear, of course, there's the potential there too. We could see the Mime at some point. Mime's doing pretty well right now, but Umbreon is one of the highest picks right now that's just barely getting under that ban radar. Whoa, hold on. Are we going to see a first pick? Look, okay, Lucario was going to be a wild one. I know there's been some back and forth about that. This would be another wild one. Dragonite, if we do end up seeing it, nope. Okay, third wild one. This is a Pokemon that was out of the meta for quite a while, but it's been relatively solid. And then the other side, Charizard.
Look, we have seen Charizard rise up in the ranks. Is it going to perform the same as it would in competitive? You pair it up with an Eldegoss as well. Adesu obviously being that prime supporter there, going to have to provide those shields and Pollen Puff. Otherwise, we do have XoraTigers Gaming answering back with a Snorlax and a Gyarados.
We do. That's a great combo. But first I want to talk about the fact that we got Blaziken so late in the draft. That is unbelievable. And our second set with Zeraora. Is this the worlds of Zeraora? I don't think that was on anybody's bingo card.
No, it wasn't on my bingo card. The fact that we've seen, this is the third Zeraora that we have seen. What are these teams cooking? There is clearly something that I am not familiar with. However, something we are familiar with in terms of that speedster is the other one beginning with Z. Or Z, I guess you Americans call it, right?
Worlds, you can think that for sure.
Okay.
We're in, there's plenty of different regions here. But actually, okay, so I want to talk a few things about XoraTiger Gaming's, I almost said XoraTiger Gaming, too much Zeraora comp, is first of all, I think that Snorlax plus Gyarados has been proven to be one of the strongest combinations. The initiation ability of that team with the bounce and the heavy slam, if they so choose to do that, is going to be so incredibly scary. But it's curious that they did go with that final pick Speedster. Usually when we do see that Zoroark, it is going with some sort of hard support, but I don't really think it has great targets on the other side. Maybe it's counter dive. What do you think?
That is actually a really great question. One thing I'm really...
Oh my god, I did it already! XoraTigers Gaming in the orange! And the fact there's a Zoroark, a XoraTigers Gaming, and a Zeraora in one game, I am certainly going to make that mistake more than 10 times.
Look, this is definitely going to be a tongue twister for all of us. However, we have a Soul Magikarp going in, getting both of those Bunnelbees, Hooper making sure to help that Zorua get online, and also take that red buff, just to provide a little bit more slows earlier on.
I'm surprised that we didn't end up seeing the red buff go to the Eldegoss, the Gossifleur currently. That would be a really great way to help try and slow down that Magikarp, which is going to be a big point of contention in this match. For anybody who's newer to Pokemon Unite, Magikarp evolves differently. It does eventually evolve guaranteed based on level, but it has a meter, an effort meter that goes up as you score, get KOs, get assists, and so you really want to shut it down early before it turns into very scary Gyarados. But already the first KO of the game on that Zeraora.
Yeah, speaking of shutting down early, being able to knock down that Zeraora is huge. You do have Mule picking up themselves a berry, getting prepared for the Swablu's and Altaria that are about to spawn.
And immediately get just eliminated from the map. So that is how it is, of course, when a bunch of strong Pokemon are vying for that experience. So it looks like the majority of the experience so far in the game has gone slightly to XoraTigers Gaming. They're ahead just by a bit, getting that early KO. And I would expect that we're going to see the Magikarp evolve relatively soon. Usually, if we can see it evolve by, I'd say, about 8 minutes, you're in a pretty solid spot, and they're getting pretty close there. We are going to see the Blaziken, not quite be a Blaziken yet, and so it's going to be a little bit before it pops off, but already 8 minutes and 20 seconds, Gyarados, that's a great time.
Yeah, just those little hits to get it online. Adesu and the Hooper both hiding in that tall grass, just seeing who's going to poke out first. However, it ends up being Gyarados that uses that bounce onto that Combusken. They're just circling about, trying to protect the Swablu's and Altaria that are about to spawn at the 8-minute mark.
and that's going to be a big head slam to at least start off the initiation. Charizard's going to do a great job of being able to at least get a little bit more damage on there, and the initiation is going to come in at least from that Combuskin. They are going to be able to at least get one KO once again on that Zeraora, reverse KO on the Hoopa, so just a big brawl happening here in the center. I love the kiting that we're seeing out of the Charizard, showing its mobility while it's able to attack. Gyarados going down. This will be another great KO for the side of Nouns Esports.
Yeah, that is massive. 2 KOs for that Charizard. It's going to get it ever closer to that Unite move that it needs. However, we do have Ward being able to just zone them out a little bit further. Another set of birds are about to spawn before we have those first objectives. However, down in the bot path, Zoroark is actually quite low, which means they're actually going to give up all of these Swablues and Altaria over to the side of Nouns.
Yeah, that's a scary 1v1 match as well. There's such a, I mean, as you can see right there, Zeraora does a lot of AoE damage just around itself, so even if it's not targeting you or it's fighting against something like a Zoroark that's very hard to target, it can just do a lot of accidental damage. So it's not going to be easy to 1v1 that, but they're immediately going to initiate on the bottom, trying to take this Regirock, and already we're going to see that Zoroark go down immediately. A second KO onto that Gyarados. Regirock getting very low. The final hit is going to go to the side of Nouns as well. Of course, Adesu, one of the best final hitters in the game.
We always love it when a support gets that last hit. However, we've just got to talk about the power of Gatlu on that Charizard, and I think this is why they picked it. Being able to get those KOs, but also zone out the rest of the team for the member to secure it. Otherwise, we have another objective. That Regieleki is really low here, as we do have a brawl. Jae-Jung trying to zone on out, and it actually ends up going over to XoraTigers Gaming. I'm done.
Yeah, it's going to happen. Can we get a count, chat, please, of how many times we say Zoro wrong? But yeah, that looked like there was going to be a lot more of a fight, and they actually just kind of went in, and they were like, nope, and they just backed up, and they just disengaged. They were like, oh, well, it's just a Regieleki. We're not getting threatened by points. Currently, both teams sitting at 66. A lot of times, you really want to be afraid of that Regieleki if already one team has a gigantic lead, and you either want to hold on to that lead or prevent it from growing. But they're sitting pretty solid here, and we're having the levels be decent. Nouns has definitely jumped ahead, but we're not in a spot where there can't be a very quick comeback with maybe 1 or 2 solid picks from the side of XoraTigers Gaming.
I mean, the benefit is they have both of those tier 1 pads available for them. So that Hooper is able to teleport, they're able to defend, be wherever they need to be. So Nouns need to try and collaborate together to try and take one of these goals down.
This has been one of the longest games without seeing a goal zone go down. That's how much of like a draw this is as far as these fights. Of course, we did see that really big win on bottom. It's been kind of the only thing, the only reason why we do have probably a decent level lead, but they're just doing such a good job of controlling the space, and it's hard. It's hard to initiate against XoraTigers Gaming comp. They've got a lot of burst, they've got a really strong far back line, they've got the counter initiation, and right now, that's exactly what they're doing. They're coordinating, they've got the mobility of the Hoopa, maybe is the most important thing, and it's so hard to find an opportunity to break any of these goals.
No, and that's actually perfect because they do have the positioning here, except it looks like they're going to abandon bases, head up into the top half as Nouns made an attempt at pushing that. Rings and Bound comes on 4th as they are trying to scramble away. However, it is just no match for Nouns. Inteleon also pops their Unite move. There is no hiding in the tall grass from them as they are snipe shotting across the distance.
That range is going to be so gigantic. Right now, though, we're seeing the burn on the Regieleki. That's going to go down in an instant. Can we see this team of 2 from Nouns defend this goal zone against so far 4 plus the Regieleki is the 5th. Snorlax on bottom. Looks like they're doing a good job. We are going to see at least one little bit of a assist right there from the Blaziken. We are going to see Gatlu go down, but they did manage to take the Zoroark out in time. Regieleki's very close to going in. Only Adesu left to try and stop this, but there's quite a few enemies on the other side. You might just have to let this one go, and if they do, which will happen, this should be a jumping lead for XoraTigers Gaming.
You got to give it up to Adesu there, leaving it right until the last moment, trying as hard as they can to defend that base. However, trying to get in those little dunks, some extra stacks here and there that they may have missed out earlier on. However, down in the bot path, we actually have Nouns breaking that goal. So it is still a close match, 135 to 170 points.
Yeah, there was a little bit of the scoring in return, which I really like that. They saw the opportunity. Oh no, once again, that's going to be a Zeraora going down very quickly. Zeraora is pretty risky. The Unite come out from Charizard, but that was a little bit late. Gatlu going down very quickly, only being able to unite at about 10% of his own HP. And now another opportunity to push some goals down is going to come in this bottom tier 1, where XoraTigers Gaming already has a significant amount of points on this. They are going to get a pretty solid overdunk there, and now they're ahead by about 50 points, which is still a relatively low lead when we're only 45 seconds away from the final stretch.
Oh, but look at Muir a bit in the enemy territory, in dangerous waters. Are they going to be able to get on out? No, we did have Hooper jump across the wall. Unfortunately, they were just too low. Get knocked out. That is going to reset them, as we do have some members collaborating up to the top half. Are they going to try and take this tier 1 base before the final stretch?
Oh, well, they're going to certainly get it. They actually really prioritize just being able to destroy that, which means that they may be going for that Regieleki as well. They will. Up on top, almost everybody from the side of Nouns has collapsed onto that Regieleki with a great timing. The closer to the 2-minute mark you can take Regieleki, the better pressure it provides in the final stretch as Rayquaza spawns, and it's going to a tier 2 completely undefended. You know XoraTigers Gaming says, okay, you're going to be able to get back the lead with that if you really choose to, but we're still so close that it may come down to this Ray fight.
Yeah, it looks like that Regieleki is going to walk on through. Zoroark is going to go and defend that. However, there's no people in sight as Snorlax is trying to take the hits, trying to get the reset, but a great Blaze Kick to pop off that. Snorlax able to get the heals from that power nap, as we do have the rings unbound coming on out. It is just an absolute mishmash here, Chef.
It is. 2 members already down on the side of XoraTigers Gaming, and it's really solid amount of their damage. They've got to come back. They've got to hold on as long as they can. They do slightly have the lead, but right now, Nouns is just chasing them down. Zoroark is going to be the 3rd KO. Only the defender and supporter left, trying to maybe sit around and try to get the last hit on this Rayquaza. Heavy Slam could certainly potentially do it, but they will go down before the final hit, and Rayquaza for game number 1 is going to the side of Nouns.
And it is going to be Sorayu that secures the shields for their team. Their ball has bursted.
We felt like, hey, we're probably not going to see
trying
it
to
in
see
any
if
of
they
these
can
teams
break any
up
more
on
of those
stage
shields
at one
with
point
that
as
bounce,
we get
but
ready
you
for
do
our
have
first.
the Cups coming on in 463 to 215 with only 45 seconds remaining.
That's going to be a difficult ask. They do have the Hoopa. The Hoopa could potentially, if they have a lot of their Unite left, run all the way to the side, get a portal out, but there's only 36 seconds left. I think the odds of that happening, especially that happening without them running into anybody else, which immediately they're seeing there. Bruv still with that shield a lot later. That's not going to be an option with 24 seconds left. Really only 2 members somewhat even close. I'm sorry, 3 members were somewhat close, but there's not enough points. I think we can say that this one is all wrapped up in game number 1, as Nouns Esports will go with a 430-point lead over XoraTigers Gaming.
Absolutely wild. The fact that they were so close in this match. They were 66 and 66 at one point.
That any of those 3 damage dealers on that team were anywhere near anybody on XoraTigers Gaming. They had to deal with them, and we did see them actually get a lot of KOs on each one individually, but the threat of having all of them all at the same time, being able to pull them into each other's ranges, 3 separate damage dealers, I would say, that all are very focused on mobility as well, you know, being able to blaze kick people around, being able to teleport around a little bit of zero and jump.
Play any Pokemon they want. I'm hoping we still end up getting some Greedent later on. But look, I've called it, Chef. Charizard, first ban. We actually have XoraTigers Gaming going in for that first pick on the purple side. So Nouns are in that second pick. Looks like they're going to follow on through. But however, they've actually decided to ban their own Umbreon.
Yeah, and on the other side, we actually see XoraTigers Gaming ban Hoopa that they chose in the game number 1. This is no problem for Nouns. Trust me, they are going to be like, okay, we can just give Adesu the Eldegoss once again. But that clearly does show, as far as the mindset of XoraTigers Gaming, they highly value the Hoopa and as a second pick. But first pick, Ceruledge. We've seen how scary this can be. This was banned last time. Do you think it's going to win this time?
Look, only time will tell, Chef. We know that is an incredible Unite move as well, if they're able to time it perfectly. However, Sorayu going to stick with the Blaziken, and this is something that we have seen rise in the ranks as well. Mamoswine. So being able to get those picks, if it's able to set those fangs on that Ceruledge, that could quickly shut them down.
It's a great pick, and I know somewhere out there Zoinks is saying, look, my pick, it's true, because he actually did that the first time that we saw it as well, and it's looking like such a strong Pokemon to be the first pick on the side of the second side team, but we are going to see the Urshifu, who's also been in contention for bans quite a bit. And hold on, are you going to get your wish? Oh, maybe
No.
not, maybe not. This would be an interesting one as well. Gatlu locking in. Interesting. Buzzwole, not a Pokemon that we see all the time, but it is going to be very strong, especially in the early game at contending whatever it's going to be trying to do.
Well, I guess it depends on who ends up going up in that top half. But now it's a matter. You look at these team comps right now, they're quite brawly, frontline melee. We have Subin there on the Pikachu, so that is going to be their ranged attacker. Do you think that's going to be enough range for them?
I mean, this is not a lot of range. I am personally have been seeing the praises of current Pikachu. It got some buffs relatively recently, and it is very strong. And even before that, we've seen support Pikachu doing decently well, but as you can see right now, there's not going to be an EXP share on it. It is going to be more of an attacker, and I think that is very scary, especially when you have a relatively close-range team like Nouns. You're asking is there enough range on the side of XoraTigers Gaming? Is there enough range on the side of Nouns as well? I feel like this match is just set up to be a gigantic brawl one way or the other, and the AoE damage to that Pikachu could really, really hurt if Nouns is not careful about their spacing.
Can I just say, I am actually loving Toon's last pick here, the Espeon, the Psychic Select. If we have XoraTigers Gaming all bunched in together, considering they are such a brawly comp, they're able to get that at the perfect time.
But this time, we'll have to see exactly where it goes. We're heading into game number 2. XoraTigers Gaming now on the left, Nouns on the right in the orange, and they're up one game. They only need one more to move forward.
We are going to send that Kubfu into that central area for XoraTigers Gaming as well. Adesu on a little bit of a mission. The Gossifleur potentially looking to steal this red buff. However, we do have that Blissey to help this Kubfu along because we know how slow it is to actually clear that wild Pokemon.
Yes, Kubfu, infamously one of the weakest and slowest clears before it turns into an Urshifu. And the moment it turns into an Urshifu, you're running the exact opposite direction. And look at this, even with the heals, oh no, barely escapes. Adesu is going to at least be able to delay that clear by quite a while, forcing them to heal even with the assist. And so getting a strong early game support like the Gossifleur is going to be such a good option at trying to delay that. But now, yeah, you got to run. That's an Urshifu, and you don't want to be a part of that fight anymore. It's just a poor little Gossifleur.
It was a moment of fear, the Gossifleur, but now it's a moment of fear, the Urshifu, who's looking for some revenge. Otherwise, up in that top half, we do have Nouns who are able to get in some dunks, leaving that base at 54 points, able to just zone out this Charcadet, who can't really find an opening right now.
Yeah, I mean, Charcadet's definitely not as weak as Kubfu, but you really want to get that evolution just as much. And right now, this is a pretty early brawl. You know, we were saying this might just be a brawl of the match, and it's looking like it. We're at 8 minutes, 30 seconds, and already that's a good amount of score on that bottom tier 1. So XoraTigers Gaming is going to be taking a small lead. There's been a solid amount of points probably during a lot of the invasion that were scored from the side of Nouns as well.
You know what I just noticed as well? We actually have the Water Bear coming on out, and you can just see it pop it on off with those moves, the liquidations. However, it does finally get taken down along with that Blissey, a little bit in danger there as we do get set up for these mid-birds.
Well, I will thank XoraTigers Gaming for making it sound like I know a little bit of what I'm talking about, and we did get a chance to see now both forms of the Urshifu within 2 different sets, the first 2 sets of the day. So for, again, anybody who maybe hasn't had a chance to see the Rapid Strike Urshifu, which we have not seen for a long time competitively, it is going to be very similar to an E-Speed Lucario maybe, just as far as style. You're going to be zipping around a lot, you're going to be diving, you're going to have a lot of mobility, hitting a lot of people in the back line, most likely. But we'll see if they can actually get that going, because so far they are a little bit behind, I would say, as far as being able to win those early fights.
Yeah, I think it's also the liquidation being able to give them that shielding that they may need to just try and contest this. However, interestingly enough, we have XoraTigers Gaming giving up this tier 1 pad, leaving it on 19 points. Looks like they just want it gone instead, focusing on the wild Pokemon as they get prepared for these first objectives to spawn.
This is going to be, I think, a really big moment in this game, just because of the fact that when you have brawling teams like this, slight level advantages mean so much, and slight just advantages anywhere, they really kind of get magnified, and so immediately they're going to be pushing, trying to burn it down. The Psychic Slayer, just like you said, being gigantic in that fight, but it was not enough backup. That's going to be a secure from Nouns Esports, and they are going to be able to steal that one away, right? They did manage to steal it, I think? No, they did not. I'm sorry. I looked at the wrong thing. That was a secure from XoraTigers Gaming.
No, we do have an objective going over to both sides here.
That's what it was.
And now, because they actually decided to leave that tier 1, Reggie Alecki is knocking on that doorstep. We do have Buzzwell going in with their Ultra Swole Salam, taking down one of those members, just trying to clear some space for this Reggie Alecki to make it on through. Egg bombs are flying there, not able to get its hit, able to get a stun, but oh my gosh, what a great Phantom Force from that Sarah Ledge to dodge that punch.
Yeah, good Phantom Force usage is huge with Sarah Ledge, and especially the fact that we're here playing in person means that it's going to be the quickest reactions you could possibly have. Also, I was completely tricked in that last fight. I looked down to see who got the last hit on the Reggie, and I was like, Soraya, you got the last hit? Soraya wasn't in that fight, but Soraya got the Reggie Alecki right as the Reggie on the bottom was taken. So, yeah, they did trade exactly 1-for-1. I, though, think that this is still remaining what looks like a pretty close game. However, Nouns is really starting to run away with this lead. So the biggest thing that they have to be careful for, especially with how they're playing, is not to get picked off by one person, but that's going to be a big Revenant rend, and the defensive Icicle Fang is going to at least get that Sarah Ledge back into their own backline, but we're going to see Pillar Swan get very, very low, able to escape. They will be able to get the KO on the Sarah Ledge. Psychic Slayer is going to continue with that, but it looks like that may be the end of their KOs. Still, that's exactly what they wanted to see.
Exactly. They were able to utilize some of those Unite moves, which means we're actually not going to have Pikachu Unite move coming down for this basement Reggie. It's just a matter of waiting. We do have Gatlu going and getting that red buff there, seeing if they can potentially get their Unite move as the rest of the members lay in their tall grass.
I like this patience. There was obviously a lot of focus from XoraTigers Gaming on this objective in the, literally one objective ago. And so maybe playing a little bit more defensively, waiting for one giant burst and just at least getting one big pick on something like their Shifu or that Sarah Ledge would be huge. And that was a really big miss from that Trevenant Unite. I'd actually be able to hit, I think, maybe anybody. Reggie Steele already getting extremely low. And that's going to be the Sarah Ledge getting that final hit. Once again, these team fights on the bottom have gone directly the way of XoraTigers Gaming. They're going to continue to push and take down this tier 1 goal zone very cleanly. 37-point overdunk. They are still behind, but that's going to keep them in contention for sure.
Look, it's going to bridge that gap, right? We already have Pikachu that's hit that level 11 mark. Now we have Shifu also hitting that level 12. But XoraTigers Gaming, they're not over. Looks like they want to try and take this top tier 1 pad as well.
Oh, that's maybe a little bit greedy here, but they're doing a pretty good job already. We're going to see Bruv go down as well as Gatlu. There's still a good amount of defense here, but that is going to build them enough space to very cleanly try to take this Reggie Alecki. Can you get the overeating time? No! I like the attempt for Surya, but instead they're going to be going down as payment, so it's going to be a 4 plus Reggie Alecki against, well, now 4 as 2 members run from the right side. Can they turn this around? I don't know. The Psychic Slayer once again hitting quite a few. Sarah Ledge has gone down several times, and it looks like more than enough will be remaining on this pad. This tree is so far back. You're trying to plant that tree back at your home goal zone.
As if the tree wasn't far enough, Buzzwell just took them even further into that flux zone. How were they able to go and defend that base? So they're going to still have that advantage come the final stretch. But it is such a close match here. It's just a matter of farming up each side, trying to get their white Pokemon, trying to get their levels, but also we have only 2 Unite moves, one on either side here. Oh, there we go, more yellow dots, Chef.
Yeah, all the yellow dots popping up. You don't want them to, be gone for that long. We are going to get one more basement Reggie spawning before the final stretch, which is going to be probably valued once again by XoraTigers Gaming. If there's one team so far that we've seen that really loves those basement Reggies, it's them. But hold on, everybody, look at that minimap. Everybody's on the bottom side. This could be a very scary fight, or both teams could just choose to walk away. And it looks like it might be the fight. The Ice Fang is immediately going to get the KO. Trevenant going down. And now XoraTigers Gaming realizing, okay, maybe we don't fight here. There's only 2 minutes 30. If they get KO'd here, they may not be back in time for the final stretch. But Brav getting extremely low, able to eject button out, but still being chased down by that water. Ichifu Reggie Rock going down to the side of Nouns this time. Finally, can they use that buff to their advantage? They're fighting a 45 again currently as Trevin is running back, but the Sarah Ledge chasing down Toonslim. One final hit, Toonslim down for the next 13 seconds. That's not even in time for the Ray fight. The big Fandom Forest is going to be able to get one more hit, and almost all of Nouns is wiped. What will XoraTigers Gaming do with this advantage?
They're going to go and rip the Ray because there is none of Nouns inside. However, Mammoth Smoke, no, they are here. They're going to go in with their Mammoth Mash, but it ends up being the Blissey that gets the secure for XoraTigers Gaming. Now they have the shields. They need to try and dunk. However, Toon cannot break that. That's 197 to 182. And this isn't going to be the end of the points raining on through.
Yeah, we're going to see more and more and more. Everybody was up, and everybody was able to score. What an incredible ending there from the side of XoraTigers Gaming. But what a way this final somewhat fight actually started. I mean, okay, technically, let's talk about this. It's not over. 1 minute, 20 seconds. That was such a fast rate take that we do get a good opportunity to see a potential comeback. Right now, look at that. They are chasing down that Blissey so hardcore. That was everybody on that team. They do not like that egg-throwing Pokemon. And so, with a minute left, can we see them taking out Blissey actually come into play as far as allowing them more opportunity to score?
Oh, but we do have Cerulege, Blaziken chasing it on down, just trying to play a bit of a chicken and mouse. No, that's not the one. Cat versus mouse. Well, you know what? It's a chicken now. However, a great Hornleech from the Trevenant, trying to crack down Nouns Esports like a macadamia. Crack it wide open, take it down, and 3 are gone. 4!
Oh no, the sandcastle is crumbling as we see the final member go down, and the last opportunity for Nouns within this game specifically going down the drain. And so we are now going to see XoraTigers Gaming take game number 2 solidly. A few more points just for fun. You got to pad your stats right. We've got stats, guys. You got to make yourself look good. And so we saw in the first match of the day, the first set of the day, a game 3. And in the second one, we are getting the exact same thing. XoraTigers taking game number 2, taking us to game 3 against Nouns Esports.
This is the reason
Here
why.
we go into the draft, and that Urshifu that was looking so good immediately banned.
Look, it makes sense. It is just rising up in the ranks. However, we're going to pick that safe pick there, banning away that Charizard once again. So I'm wondering if they're actually going to prioritize that Cerulege, or whether XoraTigers Gaming are going to give it up to Nouns potentially here, as Inteleon has been banned once again.
I think they got to ban it. Yeah, they've shown that their value for it is very high. And I think that's one thing about XoraTigers Gaming, is that there's a lot of teams where they kind of try to hide exactly what they think are good or what is strong, but just via play, XoraTigers Gaming is very upfront about what they think is strong, what they want, what objectives they want to hit, and based on just their drafts, they're going straight away. They were like, yep, we're picking Cerulege first, and now I feel like almost undoubtedly they're going for the Hoopa. Yep, exactly it. They have shown that that is one of the other Pokemon they value highly, but on the other side, Umbreon has been a huge game changer this entire meta.
Yes, it has. Being able to get that lockdown, being able to get the stun. However, it looks like Soraya is going to stick with their bread and butter, locking down that Blaziken once again. Adesu also on the Eldegoss.
They're so happy with that. That's, I certainly think, one thing that was a little bit of a misdraft last time for XoraTigers game, despite the fact they won. I don't think they needed to ban the Hoopa. I'm not sure we would have seen it anyway. But they got it this time. That's all that matters. Great looking comp from the side of XoraTigers Gaming, very solid. But now it's time, if Nouns was to pull out something surprising, where they would do it. And that is something we tend to see a lot when Umbreon is first picked. There we go. Toon going back to that Zeraora. And, okay, so Gatlu's probably not on the Lucario. Is that going to go to Soraya? They may switch, but regardless, Lucario, very interesting. We've got 3 strong brawlers on the side of Nouns.
Yeah, that is absolutely insane. And I guess that's the benefit of the all-rounder picks. There's just so many of them. Even though you ban out 3, you're still able to go and get those selections. However, Subin is going to take a page out of Toon's book, and they're going to last pick that Espeon for themselves.
I think that's great. We saw how strong in that last game, exactly like you said, the Psychic Slayer, the Pokemon Unite move from the Espeon is so good at dealing with these brawling teams, and that's exactly what Nouns have chosen, so we're going to see the opposite direction. We are going to see Soraya switch over, very well known early on in the game's life for this Lucario, and we've only seen it come back a few times in this current meta, which is great to see. It's so cool to see Soraya on that Pokemon they're so well known for, but Gatlu is, I mean, all these players are extremely well known basically for playing all of these Pokemon. I feel like this is just a solid draft.
It is a solid draft. However, I have my eye on Ward there on that
One
map.
way to figure out how it's going to go, and that's our second game 3 of the day out of 2 sets. Nouns on the left and XoraTigers Gaming on the right.
We can hear the crowd going wild for them, cheering them on as they are going to head into their respective lanes. We're actually going to see Gatlu on the Torchic go and take that central area for Nouns Esports, and Hooper is here to help this Leafeon come online.
I actually love that. Once we saw kind of a lot of nerfs from a lot of the Pokemon in the top path, we started seeing a whole lot more, once again, of Blaziken going up top because it usually has time. And I loved it when it was in the center area. There was that point in the time where the meta was a lot of center area Blaziken, and it's coming back maybe a little bit right here. But look at this bullying. This Leafeon is going to be able to get in, get a dunk, which is going to be what it's really going for. Of course, I always say it, if you're not inning for stacks, you're not playing Pokemon Unite.
I think that is definitely the definition of inting for stacks there, getting the KO. You know what? That's one tick off the mark. Only 5 more to go. They are going to get those Bunnelbees that's still waiting. However, we do have Nouns being able to get in some little dunks of their own in this bottom half, now taking that lead. However, the Hooper Portal to send 4 members down bot.
This is a really interesting strategy that we've seen a few times before from other teams, but I haven't seen it recently. When you have a Gyarados, you actually just leave them up kind of alone, and you focus on bottom. So then the other team has to really focus on bottom, and they don't really deal with your Magikarp trying to evolve nearly as much, which is currently, though, still being bullied by Soreu up on top. But this is going to be a little bit of a brawl for this final hit on the Indeedee, and a little bit of an invasion on the side of XoraTigers Gaming as Desu is running in, trying to get a little bit, but does get shut down a little bit.
I must say, that is a lot of trust to just leave that Magikarp up in that top half all on its own. It has evolved. However, Hooper is just going to try and chase this chicken down, able to take away that Bunnelby. They're not going to give up, considering they do have the heals there, and also some backup from Leafeon to yoink that away.
There are a lot of Pokemon on the other side of the map that they should not be on. You've got your team colors, okay? Remember, that's where you're supposed to be. Be polite. No, I'm just kidding. A lot of invasions, a lot of aggression, but that is what we expect to see at this point, especially when we've got that Leafeon. The double evolution is so early, aggressive, and right now they're just trying to get all the XP. Going back in to just barely get through that portal, that was scary. There was an opportunity to like, get Blaze kicked away or something like that, but they came back through, and now they're the ones hunting down Gatlu, who is going to get the Blaze kick to get them a little bit further closer to that goal zone. They're not going to be able to get the reverse KO, but Soreu here may be able to at least push them away. Yeah, the bounce just to get out of there, getting a little unstoppable. They've got to be careful because we are about to see the objective spawn, but Soreu going in with the E-Speed, going to hit a bunch of resets over and over, especially fighting near those birds can be huge, but finally getting KO'd from the Gyarados. And look at that, 4 members top. They're all relatively low, but one portal can change that very quickly. They're going to be going for that tier 1 goal zone. It should be going down, nobody in range, and after this, they could be able to get a reset as far as health, or the Regieleki, or whatever they want.
Yeah, and now they do have that advantage up in that top half. The slow Pylospine trying to just defend their pad as we have Blaziken soloing down that basement Reggie. However, Leafeon coming in, seeing if they can get the secure. However, Overheat is just all too powerful. However, Blaziken does end up paying the price there, getting knocked on down.
In for stacks, in for objectives, just gotta int, you know, that's the Pokemon Unite style. But right now, we are seeing XoraTigers Gaming go for this bottom tier 1, and this Zeraora is gonna be such a great defensive tool at keeping everybody off of that goal zone. Toonslim has been, I wanna say, kind of not in a lot of these fights, but we'll see exactly how it affects this one. Not a whole lot, as that's gonna be 2 members, including Toonslim, going down immediately. This Gyarados is running wild, getting so much damage resistance from that Espeon as well, and we've just seen so many early fight wins from XoraTigers Gaming. They're not ahead by an insurmountable amount. The level's only about 1 from their highest, and their supports are a little bit lower even, not as evenly spread as Nouns, but they're looking real good in these fights.
I mean, the benefit is they do have that experience share there, so able to get those levels passively. However, Nouns is going to take the opportunity, just trying to hinder XoraTigers Gaming here, looking at breaking this base. However, Emerald 2 steps comes in, and it fails. They end up getting eliminated, and that is actually going to be a huge overdunk for Nouns Esports, able to bridge that gap even closer, 112 to 175.
That's definitely getting to that spot where that's really important, especially being like under 100, under 200. That's going to mean that the final stretch is a big, big difference as far as being able to get those double points. But right now, it looks like both teams retreating slightly just to be able to get some experience before this next set of spawns. This feels like it's been a long game. There's really 5 minutes left. It feels like we've already had as much fights as we usually get in an entire game in half the time.
look, time is of the essence here. I mean, it's, you know, ticking by slowly as we do have members lying in that tall grass, seeing who's going to get exposed first. But the Gyarados is going to dive in with their Unite move, trying to land their mark on the Blaziken, who was able to Blaze kick their way out of there, not getting hit. However, Gyarados is going to go in for a reset. They're not actually going to return. Instead, they're going to use that jump pad to head up in to the top path where that Regieleki is waiting.
I do like that. They're a little bit safe for this Regieleki now, though, getting burned down by Nouns very, very quickly. Hoopy Unite's coming out, and they're going to be able to secure with the beam as well. Big bounce in from Gyarados, and now we're now seeing Nouns on the back foot by a lot of Desu is going to be using that Unite to try and get the healing, try to back everybody up, top them off, wait out a little bit of that Unite from the Hoopa. They're going to do a great job of it, turning around onto Ward on the Mammoth Swine, who's going to go down before they can get through the portal. And this crew of three immediately getting jumped on, 2 down, and can we get the third one? A huge amount of damage from Mule. That was disgusting.
Oh my gosh, the setup there from Mule to use their Unite move, lead them into the tall grass where Leafeon was waiting and get down 2 KOs. All the meantime, Hooper is going to go and be able to dunk in 40 points because Regieleki walked on through.
That was such a turnaround. Nouns, they did a great job of backing up, but they are going to be fighting for this base, and Reggie immediately going down. Once again, it's XoraTigers gaining. The objective's going fully in their favor. The fight's now starting to go in their favor. Somehow, they're still slightly down by levels. We've seen an amazing job of prioritizing farming and being able to get all the wild XP that you possibly can on the side of Nouns. They actually got to go on their side right now, taking the other side as well as far as wild XP. So they're doing well as far as levels. They need to get one solid team fight in, but the lead is growing and growing and growing for Zora.
I mean, the thing is, there is still another Regieleki that is going to spawn here. That home base is wide open for Nouns here, so a really risky maneuver. They're just going to pick up all of those yellow dots, clear them up, try to get those Unite moves, and hit those power spikes.
Ooh, the center positioning. You do not want to walk in there, buddy. That's a little bit scary, but they're coming from both sides. I like that. The bounce to get out, one of the strongest moves in the game, to be honest, but we're seeing all of Nouns start to move up. They're worried about this Regieleki. They're worried about this tier 1. They're going in, and so far a great jump out, a great disengage from the side of XoraTigers Gaming, but they know this fight is going to start soon. Oh, Zera pulling back the Hoopa. That Hoopa's going to go down. 5v4 currently right now for the second to final fight, I would have to say, as Nouns is pushing forward, putting on the back foot, getting the K on the Gyarados as well, taking down this tier 1, and now do they have time to be able to burn down this Regieleki? It seems like almost certainly, and that is a great, perfect way to set up for the final stretch for Nouns Esports.
Yeah, Nouns knowing what the problem was and going and dealing with that. That is going to head down into that tier 2 pad. However, XoraTigers Gaming, they're not worried about. They want to try and get this positioning. They do not want to give Nouns this Rayquaza. 233 to 289. You can just see Nouns sticking together as a group, waiting for the perfect opportunity to get that pick. However, maybe it might be the Mammoth Swine. We gotta take a look at those Ice Fangs, right?
Yeah, always. That's the #1 catch you out of position move right now, but this is really scary, and we see XoraTigers Gaming moving very far forward, trying to find somebody going through that choke point, but now Nouns back all together. The Poopa Portal's been used. Gyarados a little bit below maximum life. They're turning around, trying to catch Toon Slam, but this is a split fight right now. We're going to see Mule trying to 1v1 against Catlu, and we're not going to see anybody actually get KO'd. Really great disengages from everybody. We're still going to see Rayquaza a pretty high health, but that's going to be a dive in. The Psych Slayer is going to barely on the edge catch 2 members of Nouns.
Oh, but we do have the Rings Unbound coming on out, being able to create a great stun on that Blaziken. However, they're at such minimal HP, they have to back on up themselves. Wait for the cooldowns. Umbreon has also used their Unite move, just trying to take down the front line. Mule has been knocked out. Is this Nouns' chance to try and secure this Rayquaza?
Oh, this is going to be really scary. We are going to see Sarayu spawning soon with that Unite. They've got to get back into the fight. There's only 1 member left now on XoraTigers Gaming. It's going to be the Hoopa. They're not going to turn around and deal with it before they burn it down. They're scared. They want to make sure they take it down. There's a chance for a steal. It's going to have to be amazing, but no, not over Gatlu, who's going to secure it. They're still down by 56 points. They only need 1 dunk to get ahead, and with 25 seconds left, it's going to be hard to stop that. Nice going through the Icicle Fang, only able to stop 1 attempt, and now in the final fight will make the comeback, and with 15 seconds left, secure game number 3 and the set.
Holy macaroni, that was absolutely wild. 2 being able to pick up a 3 KO streak on that Zeraora as well. That is what you want to see. You can see Nouns Esports cheering. Galu is happy. Some hugs all around as they